Hello everyone and welcome to a new tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to spit out frames so that you can turn those frames into a movie. So basically this is the concept of rendering a movie directly out of Stingray while we play. So for the intents of this demo I have set up a pretty simple layer here. We've got just a box with some collision on it, and I've got a bunch of spheres up here that I have physics on, and I have a camera here in my scene that I'm going to use as my default set camera. So you can see here in my level flow, I've already gotten my camera. I set that actor camera on level loaded, and I've got a key press here that I'm going to use to stop my movie a little bit later on. So if we play this level, as this loads up, you can see all my balls fall and they do their little physics simulation and they all roll downhill and do what I want. So now what I want to do is I want to create a custom flow node that's going to be able to spit out frames and render this as a movie. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to content and make sure we've created a folder in here called movies. And it's just an empty folder. So you can see here in my project directory under render movie content I have a movies folder, and this is empty. This is where we're going to spit out all of our frames for our movie. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we define that directory. So we're going to go back to the front of our project here. We're going to open up this settings file, the settings.ini, and down here at the bottom we are going to add a location for our project name and some script data that's going to tell us where we can render our movie to, which is that folder we just created. So our project name, we're going to add here equals render movie. And we have script data we're going to add here. So our script data is render movies directory, and this is going to be the location of that folder. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that here, just to copy and paste, and we're just going to hard code this for this purpose. We're going to make sure we have a extra backslash in here, and I'll show you why that is later. So now we have that directory showed up there in our settings.ini. So now it knows where that folder is located and where we're going to render to. So we can save that file. And this stuff will show up here on the right side here as long as you have settings.ini selected. Once you add that in there, you can see down here render movies directory and project name that we've added to the settings file. Next thing we want to do is we want to go into our project.lua file, which you can find under script, Lua project. We open that up. So we're going to do some definitions here for our movie path and our project and etc. So the first thing that we want to do is add in our project variable here for movie path. This is going to equal script data dot render movies directory. We're going to add project dot record equals false to start, and project dot record underscore frame. I'm going to do frame is 0, and then finally here project dot movie underscore name equals nil. So we want to set these up here at the top of our file. So let's make sure it's all spelled right. Movies. No, correct. We save that. And now we're going to go ahead and add this this function in project.render down here at the bottom. Just saying that if we were going to record, how we're going to record that. So here after project update, we're going to go ahead and do function project.render, and we're going to say if project.record, then we're going to do a local file name here, This is going to be project.moviePath, and this is where we put in our double backslash there. And then we're going to do project.movieName. This is going to have the underscore in it. And we'll do a toString. And this is our record frame. And this is going to record, and you could set this to a JPEG.jpg, but we're going to do PNG for the moment here. But you could change that to .jpg or JPG if you wanted to use a JPEG. I'm just going to put a print statement in here just to verify that we're printing out here. We're going to do recording frame, and we'll do that toString here. This is project.record frame. And so after this, we want to do project.record frame equals project.record frame plus 1. Give us our subsequent frames. Then we're going to call application.save render target. This is back buffer. And the file name would go here as well. We're going to end that if statement and then end this function. So for this application call here too, this identifier, we want to make sure that this is up here at the top. So you're going to do a local application equals stingray.application. Now if you didn't have this, you could just type stingray.application down here, but for coding purposes, we just want to make sure we had that defined up top. So I'm going to save that in my project.lua. So the next thing that we should do here is we should go to our flow callbacks, which you can find right here in your script folder. And in our flow callbacks, we're going to add the functions for recording the movie start and recording the movie stop. So how we can use our flow nodes to start the movie and then stop the movie. The first function that we want to write here is going to be the function to record the movie start. So let's just go ahead and start in. Let's do function project flow callbacks record movie start. T for table. And we're going to say if not project.record, then project.record equals true. Project.record frame equals 0. Project.movieName equals t.movieName. And let's do FPS equals t.fps. And up at the top of the file, let's make sure up here we have local application equals stingray.application as well. And then we can have application dot set time step policy, and this is going to be fixed, and this is our FPS. And then we can do application dot set time step policy this is going to be no smoothing. I'm going to end that if statement, and we'll end this function. So the next function is going to be to stop the movie. So we'll do project flow callbacks dot record movie stop table if project dot record then project dot record equals false. We can do application dot set time step policy variable, and then application dot set time step policy do smoothing 11 to 0.1. And end this if statement, and then end. Now if you wanted to throw in some print statements in here to make sure all of these are getting called, feel free, or you can just leave it as it is. So now we have our two functions here and our flow callbacks. So we need to set these up in our global script flow nodes file, which you can find living here beside the Lua file. Currently we have no nodes in here. So we want to create a flow node that is going to run our project here. So the first thing is the name of our flow node, which is going to be called record movie. I'm sorry, I'm going to put this in quotes. Record movie. And we have some arguments here that we're going to be able to fill in. The first one's going to be our FPS. Our default will be 30 FPS. I'm going to type is float. Next, we're going to have movie name. Default name for this, we'll just call this movie. The type, of course, is a string. We get out of that one. Oh, whoops. The cursor never wants to go where you want it to go. So the category for this, we're just going to put it under project in our menu there. That's where you'll find it in the drop-down. We'll do a function map here so we can map our functions. This is a hard bracket. And we'll do start. And then project flow callbacks dot record movie start. That's the name of our function. And then we'll do a stop. Project flow callbacks dot record movie stop. So that should be it. We've got our nodes defined for our record movie flow node. In our flow callbacks, we have our two functions that we added in here. On our project.lua, we have the project.render function that'll record for us and spit out our frames as .png. And we define that movie path, of course, in the settings.ini here. So let's go into level flow now. And we've got our keyboard button here set for T. I'm going to use this to stop the movie. I want to start the movie on level loaded. So if I right click and go to project, there's my record movie node. And I'm going to say when I start recording my movie. And when I hit the T button, stop. Our FPS is 30. You could change this to 60 if you wanted. I'm going to just leave it at 30. My movie name is movie. You could change this to whatever you like. And save my level. And immediately I see an error here. I'm compiling. It looks like I have misspelled something. So I'm going to go back to my script editor. And it looks like in the project.lua, project.record frame plus project.record frame. Let me make this equal, I believe. And save that. I'm going to bring over my window for my movies and see this is where our movies will be collected. We'll give it a play here. Seems we had one more error here that we need to fix. It looks like I might have misspelled something in the settings.ini. Right here it should be frame render instead of rame render. My mistake. One more thing I'd like to add is a print screen here just to let me know what I can hit to turn this off. So I'm going to say on level loaded. I want my label to be to stop recording, and my text will be press T. So this should show up on level load. So save our level, go into our viewport, and check my folder here, and my movie folder I've designated as empty. So now when I hit play, my balls start falling. I hit T, cancel recording. If I go back to my window here, you can see all of my frames have spit out into this window that are now compiling in. So at this point I rendered out 114 different images. And you can use any kind of software, Photoshop, to string these together. There's lots of third-party software you can grab where you can transfer frames into playable movies. And then you can watch this back in real time. So just to recap, we've got a level here with some cool stuff going on where we drop the balls and they play out in our level flow. We have a camera, which we set the active camera pointing straight down. We have a print to screen to tell us what to do with our record movie flow node here. And on the T value, we tell this record movie to stop. On level loaded, we tell it to start. Our FPS that we're recording is 30 frames. And we just name this movie. This gets spit out into the folder that we designated under content movies. It'll spit out all our frames right here that we can then use later to compile into a movie of your choice, MP4 or AVI, however you want to do it. You can compile these later into a playable movie. And we did this by using the settings.ini here to set our project name, our movies directory where we're going to spit out our PNG files. Then in our project.lua, we want to set up some variables here at the top here for movie path, recording the frame, number to start from, and the movie name is nil to start. And then after project.update, we want to set in here a project.render, and we're going to set the movie path there, and the string, and the type of file that we want, which we use PNG, but you could use JPEG if you wanted to. And then this is telling it to save it. In our flow callbacks, we went ahead and wrote two functions. The first one is to start the movie. This will set our variables that we had before to true to start, We set our movie name and our FPS that goes back into our flow nodes, and then we have the same thing here for movie stop with our variables and our smoothing. And then in the global script flow nodes, we set our category to project, movie record, and our default here for 30 frames per second, and then our default movie name as movie. Of course, all of that shows up in our level flow under projects, record movie. We get our flow node here that we've used. And then when we go to run our level, then we hit play. Our physics simulation takes over. We are recording. We can watch our balls, record our movie, whatever it is that you're recording. You hit the T button, it'll stop recording. The game, of course, keeps playing until you hit escape or exit your game. And then all of these have been stored now into our folder here, which will populate with our images that we've recorded. So that concludes our tutorial for setting up and running a custom flow node to record a movie and spit out frames that you can later compile into a playback movie of your choice. Thanks, and look forward to more tutorials.